folks, how's it going? Hope you're all keeping safe out there. Most of you might have realised the other day that, Hasbro had a pretty decent sale on, didn't they? 40% off a lot of stuff, and let's just say they had a fair old whack of my money out of that lot. Yeah, a fair old bit. You can see, now what some of you might know and some of you might not, I'm a big fan of the Transformers Shattered Glass universe. It was this whole thing introduced in BotCon. I'm not going to give a year because I can't remember which. But it's basically the idea of the Autobots and Decepticons switching roles. So you've got the evil Autobots and the heroic Decepticons. And I really like it. There's some great repaints, some great retools. It's just all in all a rather interesting and fun version of the Transformers mythos. And if you want like a more in-depth explanation of what the Shattered Glass universe is, I recommend checking out Chris McFeely's video on the Basics channel. As always, great channel, great content, highly recommended. But yeah, Hasbro Pulse had this sale, and they also included in that sale the 5 Hasbro Pulse exclusive Shattered Glass figures, which I had to get because these things just look absolutely fantastic, and I'm really glad I got them because they're all absolutely brilliant. Even better with saving all that money on them. But I have a slight issue. You see, I don't have the Shattered Glass Ratchet and Optimus Prime 2-pack that came out before them. Now I know what some of you might be thinking, wait a second, you reviewed that, didn't you? And yes, you're right, I did. It's up here in the corner somewhere. And I did have them, but I also have something else. A fluffy little shite named Lenny who needed a lot of money for the vets. A lot of money because he's too lazy to chew hay and his teeth grow too long and he's lost one and oh. But anyway, at the time when this bill came up, I thought, well, I have got these 2 Shattered Glass figures. The others had been announced. I thought, they're a bit too expensive to justify getting the whole lot. So I might as well sell the ones I've got and use the money for Lenny's vet's bill. I'm never going to be able to get the rest of the Shattered Glass figures, so it's going to be no big loss. Bollocks. Yeah, so now I've picked these guys up and I need to get the Optimus Prime and Ratchet set. Because honestly, like, these figures are truly fantastic and I am going to review them all. But I feel like I wouldn't be doing them or you the viewers justice if I didn't have Optimus and Ratchet to add in with them for comparison and just to look great alongside them in the reviews. And also, I really hate missing out on part of a set. It's driving me slightly nuts. The prices for these things on eBay is ridiculous all of a sudden. But yeah, I'm trying to track them down. Hopefully next week or two I can hopefully pick up a copy. If you happen to be watching this and you're in the UK and you've got the Shattered Glass Optimus and Ratchet, or you know someone who has got it and you're willing to sell it for a reasonable price, please let me know. But yeah, up until then, I'm going to give it a week, maybe 2, and if I can't track them down by then, I'm just going to review these guys without it, or without them. Bit of a shame, but I'm not going to hold off for too long. But it did get me thinking, well, actually no. As I said, I got these figures, and they all come with something special, or unique. Because you see, when these figures were coming out, IDW Publishing were also doing a Shattered Glass comic in 5 parts. And that comic was really good, and it came with some fantastic covers. I mean, really beautiful ones, like ones inspired by classic Transformers covers as well, like the G2 covers, the classic Marvel and Marvel UK ones. All sorts of artists did them. They all looked absolutely beautiful. Especially the ones that came with Jetfire. It's got a great one with the Shattered Glass Megatron on the front. I absolutely love it. It's so dynamic. And these figures actually each came with a unique, or should I say exclusive version of each comic book with a exclusive cover. And the art on these covers is just beautiful. They're just fantastic. Just character splashes of the... because each issue is like a spotlight for the character that it came with, or a character in the series. And these all look absolutely beautiful. And I want to see if I can get them framed, or maybe if I can get a something to have them all in one long frame. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with it yet, but those comics look fantastic. And speaking of the comics, or should I say connected to the comics, IDW have also announced they're doing a Shattered Glass 2, which is another, I think they've said 5 comic books, which then take over from the story that ended in those first 5. And they've shown the covers for the first one, which is like a spotlight on Shatterglass Ultra Magnus, a really fantastic looking figure because, as Hasbro like to do, they revealed the Shatterglass Ultra Magnus and the start of a second wave of 5 Shatterglass figures. Now, this Ultra Magnus is a rework of the Kingdom Ultra Magnus with a colour scheme which is referential to the Delta Magnus, like the Diaclone colour scheme of the figure, or the original G1 version. This looks amazing. It's got an interchangeable head as well, so you can either have it as like the classic Ultra Magnus style or the IDW style, where it's got like the skeleton warrior head, and it comes with extra accessories based on the legacy G2 Optimus Prime sword and shield and an axe. It looks great. The cover looks really good. I couldn't find. I know I've seen a coloured version of the Pulse exclusive cover, but I can't find it. So here's a black and white version. And then they also announced not long after Shatterglass, Blaster and Rewind. And for some reason, even this was like shown off after Magnus, I can actually find a coloured version of their exclusive cover. Yet again, looks beautiful. But yeah, that's 2 out of 5 figures, and it did get me thinking, like, what other figures are we likely to get? So I went back and I looked at the ones we already had got. Like, we've had 6 releases so far. I'm going to discount the Optimus and Ratchet set because they weren't part of the Hasbro release as such. They were part of the Pulse release, should I say. They came through the Generation Selects line, so I'm going to remove them. So 5 figures. We've got the first one, obviously we know, which is Ultra Magnus, which is a leader class figure. We've got Blaster and Rewind, which is a Voyager class figure. Now, I don't think they're going to be like the same ratios of like Commander class, Leader class, Voyager class, Deluxe class. I think they're probably going to add some more in, like maybe more Voyagers and something slightly larger maybe. But one thing I had noticed, one thing I was wondering actually was what the other one's going to be. And something I'd noticed about Magnus and Blaster, having read the comics, is they both appeared in it. Admittedly, Magnus was only like the last page or second to last page, the last issue. And it's really only as like an Emperor Palpatine-esque hologram on a display, but he was included in it, and as the books have shown, he's going to be a big part of the plot for the sequel series. And Blaster appeared in the book as well. It looks really good now. I do like those colour schemes. Yeah, but both of them appeared in the comic books, and they're now getting figures and are going to be at the main, or part of the main cast of the second series. So taking that to mind, I thought, okay, maybe the rest of the figures are going to be ones that have already appeared, because luckily this series kind of likes to take existing toy designs and use them as the inspiration for the comic book designs. So I went back to the book, and here are a few I'd seen that have clearly been inspired by actual toys that we might get. To be fair, these first few ones I hope, but I'll go through the hopeful ones first, then I'll get down to like the ones I think we're probably going to get. Because up first is Six Shot. He's only in it for like a page in the very first book. Bits of red and white repaint of a red and white rendering of the Titan's Return Six Shots, and that's like, I think that's going to be something really easy for them to do. I think the colour scheme actually works really well. It's quite striking. Another one that appears is, or should I say, another group that appears actually, are the Autobot Headmasters. They're only in like a group shot of all 4 of them, and then Hardhead and Chrome Dome appear later on in the book with a bit more like exposure. They're goons effectively, but they're here, and they've got Decepticon Headmaster inspired colour schemes, and like we know Hasbro have the sculpts because they only recently released these guys as the retro Headmasters, so would it be too difficult to change the colour schemes and release them? Yet again, as I say, they probably won't, but this is one I'd kind of like to see because I think it's really nice. They're interesting colours that pop against each other. And this one is just purely a bit of silliness on my part, which if he gets released on his own, I think people would riot, but it's still quite an interesting one. I'd kind of like to see maybe as a packing accessory. You see Ratbat in these Shatterglass colours, and there's a bit of if you remember the old Shatterglass continuity or the series when it was done by Funpub, I think he was kind of like a Batman wannabe. But yeah, he's drawn using the Siege Ratbat design, and it'd be quite easy just to recolour the plastics, a little bit of paint, get him into that blue with yellow highlights colour scheme of his Shatterglass version. As I say, it'd be a nice little packing accessory with someone. But yeah, we're probably not likely to get him. But yeah, there's just some ideas I had of like fun ones, but these are the ones I actually genuinely think now are probably going to appear. Up first, Prowl. I think Prowl's definitely going to be in it because he's hinted at so heavily in the first series. He's drawn in his Earthrise design, or his design of his Earthrise figure. And if the background of the IDW Shatterglass universe is after the main war, Cybertron is now ruled by 3 warlords: Goldbug, Optimus Prime, and Prowl. So because we had a Goldbug figure in the main 5 figure wave to begin with, we've already had Optimus Prime. The only one really left is Prowl, and because he's mentioned so much in the original series, he's likely to appear quite heavily, or I'd say as a spotlight in this second series. Now, I'd like to say I digibash this myself, but I couldn't do it in time and I was losing patience, so I found someone else who already has. Nathaniel Prime on Twitter did this great one where it's the Earthrise, Prowl and Ironhide pack done in the Shatterglass colours. Great work, just I wish I could do it like this. As you can see, with these Shatterglass colours on it, it would look fantastic. And yet again, he's going to get a push in the comic. It is a main part of that first story, so he's definitely going to appear in the sequel. He has to. Another one is definitely a fan favourite, Soundwave. I've said many times before, I think Shatterglass Soundwave is just fantastic. Ideally, I'd like to see him done on that the Netflix pack one, but I think there's licensing issues with that, where a particular distributor bought or paid for the tooling, so you've got to wait a long time before they let Hasbro reuse that tooling for something else. So in all likelihood, it'll be on the Siege Soundwave body if they were going to do him. I don't mind, that's still a really nice body, and yeah, again, I couldn't do this myself digitally, so this is one that Grimlock on Twitter did. You see how great it looks. Admittedly, there's like a few colour differences between like what they went in the comic books and what he's done, but the basic proof of concept is there that it would just look fantastic in those colours. And yeah, those are those are 2 out of the remaining 3. That leaves only 1, and this is going to be a bit of an out there idea, but okay, these comic books, the main thrust of the series is they're trying to awaken a Titan. Most notably, they're trying to release, they're trying to reawaken and use Metroplex. Now, the IDW Metroplex seems to be drawn as the Generations version, the 30th anniversary guy, with the Japanese Metro Titan colour scheme. Really rather fitting, because Metro Titan was a Decepticon, but the colours on Metroplex, it look fantastic, and I can kind of see them maybe justifying a Titan size release, because they've already got, it's not like they've got to do a new mould, they've already got the mould, it's just new colours. And they could probably justify it as being like, say, £140 one, like a normal modern Titan was before that recent Legacy Metroplex, which, to be fair, they could maybe use if they wanted to recolour it. I mean, I think myself, like most people, would prefer the Generations Metroplex. If they're going to do it, that's the one they'd rather get repainted, but they'd probably maybe accept this guy as well. So yeah, that's what I think we're going to probably see in the rest of this second wave of Shatterglass figures. Prowl, Soundwave, and maybe to end the year out the Titan-sized Shatterglass Metroplex. I mean, it's a big ask from Hasbro, and it's a big ask from us to the customers, because obviously it's going to cost a fair bit. But I think that's where they're headed with the second wave. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video and listening to me ramble on for a bit. As I said, I'm trying to find that Shatterglass Prime and Ratchet. If you can help at all, I'd really appreciate it. It's really annoying that I have to sell them, and it's so hard to find them now. So hard to find them again nowadays for a reasonable price. But anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!